If you want to do 2D animations, please use spreadsheets or 2D rigging. But if you have to show some 1 minute long animation, maybe a better solution is to use videos. However, most video formats don't support transparency, so here's a video on how to fix that. Unity has the video player component, which is great. You can use it to copy each frame into a texture that will be used by a shader in a material. Based on this, we'll show you around 3 methods to do this. Choose whatever you like. Since videos have no transparency, we'll use 2 render passes, so 2 videos. 1 color pass and 1 transparency pass, where black is transparent and white is opaque. So, basic setup. 2 video players on a game object. To render textures assigned accordingly, use the render textures inside the basic unlit material. Wait, materials have no input for alpha maps. Let's make our own shader. This would have meant a whole new video a few years ago, but now we have shader graph, so we'll do that very easily. Import URP and shader graph in the package manager. Enable URP by creating a forward renderer and inserting it inside Graphics Scriptable Render Pipeline settings. Make a new unlit URP shader graph. Make sure it supports transparency. We need 2 public attributes of type texture2D. We get each one through a sampler 2D and attach it accordingly. That's it. Make sure Play on Awake is checked on each video player, make a material, attach it to the object. Boom, it works. Now, here's the catch. If your app is a bit laggy, one of the 2 videos will lag behind and desynchronize. We'll make sure both videos are prepared and loaded in memory by Unity before playing them. So what we are basically doing is we receive both video players here, the color and the alpha. We start the coroutine at start. So what we are doing is we start buffering both of our videos here, and then we wait for both of them to be ready. How we do that is by checking if both of them are prepared, and if at least one of them is not prepared, then we just wait some more. How do we wait? We say here yield return null, which means we wait for the next frame. And after both of them are prepared, we simply press play for both of them. Well, here's another problem. When laggy, even like this, small desync problems might happen. So what we'll do is we'll play ourselves the video players frame by frame. Okay, so here is how we updated our script. We did play all our videos after all of them were prepared, exactly like last time. But what we did is we put the playback speed to 0, so now nothing actually plays. And we will play the frames by hand, basically. How we're going to do this is we calculate how much time was passed since the last frame on each update. And then we know we have here a target FPS of 25 frames per second. We know how much time should have passed since the last video frame, and if the time since last frame is bigger, what we are doing is we calculate how many frames would have fitted inside this time span, and we have here the current frame, which is just the current frame of one of those videos, doesn't matter which, since they all are at the same frame at the same time. We increment with these past frames that we calculated here, and then we set the frame here. And of course then we integrate the time since the last update. And this way we can ensure we manually increment the frames on our videos and that they are always the same frames. Now, we know the videos will always be in sync, but if one of them has one frame not ready, it will still be unsynced, even though for just a couple of frames. To stop worrying about this, we'll just merge the 2 videos in one, just like a side-by-side 3D video, but here we have the diffuse and the alpha. The only problem, and an obvious one, is you cannot do this for too many videos, since we'll go over the 4K limitation for textures on mobile. But hey, works for us. Okay, so what we did here is we removed the other video player, and we just used our merged video on the first one. What we made sure of is we went to our target texture. What we did here is we made sure we doubled the Y size since it's double in height. We removed one of the properties because now we only need one video, but we need to find a way to split it in two, so we use the color on base color and the alpha on alpha. This can be done pretty simply if we take the UV of the object and we divide it by 2 on the y-axis. This way, here it's 0, up here it's 0.5, and 1 will be all the way up here. By default, we will have the alpha video here. Now for the color, we only have to take this UV and take it lower by 0.5. And we did this by adding 0.5 on the y-axis. Now we can just attach them and everything should work fine. Since the two videos are actually one video, now we are 100% sure, with buffering or without buffering, that the frames are processed one by one and there will never be any offset between them. All good now. You can just make sure that wait for first frame is checked. You can even do a prepare if you don't want to have buffering moments, loop it or not, whatever. Also, Unity actually supports two video formats with transparency, but they might have some compatibility issues with some devices. They could be the most correct solution most of the time. So that were the solutions to my problem, and I'm curious what would your approach be on this one. See you next time!